All right, good to evening, good afternoon, good morning, Namibians, good and fellow students. I'm Dafman Ilonga, and I would like to give you a lecture, a public lecture on decision making in education, whereby I'm going to define and yeah, give some tips when it comes to decision making in education. So, what is decision making in education? Uh, I come up with my own definition. That is, it says is the core fundamental of every step we as educators make to achieve our educational goals. So, and also Bush defined decision making in education that is a critical process in education that impact student outcomes, teachers' practices, and policy development. So now the decisions that are being made uh, by stakeholders in education, they have that they either have impacts, positive impacts on students or negative impacts, depending on how they set them up. That's now according to Bush. So it continues. It says like decision making in the great critical thinking, evidence evaluation, stakeholders input, and ethical considerations. So the way it used to make stakeholders, it makes stakeholders to think critical regarding or pertaining the situations within educational setups. It also evaluate the evidence whereby what we have on the table or what we have at hand, it should be evaluated. So it is through decision making we tend to evaluate um, all the evidence within educational system. Here we are talking about stakeholders input, whereby decision makings help and stakeholders to contribute uh, into educational system. Ethical considerations here we mean whereby they make good considerations that will make the flow of education system to be good. Move. We have also the role of stakeholders in education, whereby stakeholders have a hand in educational system. Here we have lots of them, but today I just want us to look at or to consider educational leaders, teachers, and policymakers. So, what's the role of educational leaders in education? They set vision and strategic direction based on data-driven insights. So, this I can say educational leaders are the heart of what of education. They are the one that set um, uh, vision that will guide something which is as a vision now. It guides. It tends to guide all the stakeholders to where the education is going to. Hmm? So again, here it says they utilize leadership model to guide complex decision. So the leadership here, it says like they are the one that it's like they are a miller now. Educational leaders are the miller to everyone within education system. They balance competing interests from students, parents, and the community at large. So you know, every sector has competition. People tend to compete. Huh? They want to do more, or they don't want to do better than others. So these ones, the educational leaders are there to balance it now. How? Because some students are like, no, in my class or um in our class or in our school, I want to perform. I want to be the best when it comes to performance. So a parent saying, I want my child to be the best. That's the community also like says the school will be the best. Eh? That's what we do. This one they tend to make it a fair. They play like a fair game whereby they provide all the necessities needed by all schools in the country. Yes, it's taken from that reference. Okay, now the role of a teacher or the role of teachers. So teachers, they say they make daily instructional decision affecting students' engagement and learning. So teachers are the what? Are the soldiers of education. They are the one on war front of education. They are the one that make daily instructional decisions that affect what? Affect students. So for a student to perform is when the instruction of a teacher has or impacted them in a positive manner. Yes, they also do what? They also collaborate or collaboration with colleagues to develop interventions and inclusive practices. So they form what? They form or they develop a spirit of togetherness, that help others, that help them to work together. So for them to do what? For them to develop an inclusive system, an educational system that is include everyone, that includes all the learners, that include uh, regardless of the backgrounds the kids are from. Mhm. The other point is that they scrutinize summative and formative assessment data to differentiate instructionals. So teachers use summative and formative assessment just to do what? To test the knowledge development of the kids. Okay, let us move to the next. Uh, okay, now the role of policymakers. The policymakers now. They formulate policies based on demographic trends, achievement data, and societal needs. So here they are the one that formulate policies, that the policies that guide, and whenever they are doing them, those policies are based on geographical trends, or they are based on the background, or they are based on data achievements, what is there, or societal needs, what the society needs, what they look at that thing. So again, they strive for equitable education while managing political and economic constraints. So here, these policymakers, they make sure that education, education is being accessed equally by all people or by all Namibian and children. So they make sure that even though the economy is not well, like when it comes to Namibia now, it has been a while whereby the economic is not doing well. They make sure, even though that is the problem, they make sure that education um, 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 is accessed by all the kids. Mhm. We move to this slide of navigating complexity in contemporary education. So we have diversity here, dynamic and data-driven context. So what do we mean by diversity? The culture, this one includes what? The culture, linguistic and socioeconomic diversity requires culturally decision making. So now the culture within that certain community, the education should align with their culture. So again, when I talk about linguistic, so this one's like if you go to the O4 region, that's the northern side, whereby the medium of instruction that side is Oshuambo. Why? Because Oshuambo is their first language. Okay, let us move on. We have dynamic. Dynamic, that one includes what? Technological change, demands and adaptability and continuous learning. So as we live in education, in a technological world, so education should also align with that. When technology is um, is changing, also the education should be able to adapt. And it should and there should be a continuous learning. Let us not this dynamic is just to make sure that the uh, even though there is technological change, education or learning should be uh, ongoing. We have data driven context, we have big data analytics, and that requires critical interpretation. So here, the data that we have now, the data that we have is like data-driven context is just there to do what? To capture or to critically interpret the data and make it like, let us use it in case of a when there's a need for us to use it, or when there's a need for us to change it. Okay, in conclusion, it says here, in conclusion, making informed decisions in education use multiple data source. That's what, whenever we want a reliable uh, source, make sure you use mixed methodology, whereby you use um, uh, quantitative and qualitative methodology. Engage stakeholders in every decision. Whenever we make decision, let us make sure that all the stakeholders in education are involved. Employ continuous reflection and adjustment based on outcomes and new evidence recorded. This means that if maybe there is an whatever, we should always continuously reflect to what we have already, or and also we should uh, make a judgment based on outcomes and new evidence recorded. Teachers, readers, and the lawmakers should create a diversity to adapt to change and carefully assess data to make impactful decisions. Yes, that one is self-explanatory. This one's just our reference. I thank you.